Coach Preston Spradlin comes back into the Marching to Madness college basketball podcast as he is now the head coach of the JMU Dukes. Coach Spradlin turned around the Morehead State program as he had 22 plus wins in the past 4 seasons with 2 Ohio Valley regular season championships, 2 Ohio Valley conference titles as well. Coach, thanks for coming back.
Ken, thanks so much. I really appreciate you having me on here and excited to talk about our program and as we prepare for the season here.
Sure. Yeah, and looking at the success at Morehead State in those last 4 seasons, you went 94-40. What was the key into turning that program around? And then how can you mesh it, take your coaching acumen forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we had some really good players each and every year. I think that's obviously the greatest ingredient, when you're putting a recipe together and want to have a quality team and a successful season. But I think the most, so there was a lot of change, obviously, via the portal and graduation and a lot of turnover in our roster each and every year. And so our teams were very different. But the way at which we played the game was very consistent, which means our culture and our identity, we're going to be consistent. We would tweak it from time to time, but the togetherness, the toughness, the mentality that we brought every single day, the tough, defensive mindset that we had, and rebounding the ball on both sides of the ball, and then ultimately the efficiency that we played with on the offensive end. Although it changed each and every year, the results were very consistent, and so I think you point to those things and some really good players, and that allows you to find some consistent success.
James Madison had a stellar season a year ago as they had a 2-year mark at 54-15. Okay, so it's 2 similar tracks these programs have been running on. What's the biggest key in transferring your philosophy, which breeds, into the winning terms you've had into JMU?
Well, I think it's a terrific combination. That was part of the reason that we chose to come here.
Oh,
Obviously, the brand name and the success, the momentum, the foundation, and the excitement are here already. Not just with the community and the fan base, but in the recruiting world, right? That logo behind you carries a lot of weight in the recruiting circles nationwide right now because of the success that JMU has experienced over the past few years, and then. So coming here and just think, philosophically, things really matching up with the administration and what we do as a staff, what we believe in, how we want to develop guys on and off the court, the disciplined approach and mindset that we have. And so those things are going to be consistent, moving forward here. And obviously we had a big roster turnover here, with 11 new scholarship players, which is, years ago would be unheard of, but nowadays is pretty common. And so I think what we've been through the past 4 years at Morehead State and the roster turnover that we had and our ability to adjust and, still find success is going to serve us well as we put together this new team here.
A quality group, like we said, of 11 transfers moving into the Dukes program. As you moved into the new position, what were keys in how you moved to Harrisonburg and then developing that quality of a roster?
Yeah, well, it started with the returning players, kind of shifting through and evaluating and having a lot of conversation with the current players who were here, some of which had not gone on the portal, some had, having conversations with each of them and just kind of seeing, hey, what are you looking for? What's your experience been here? And what are you, wanting it to be moving forward? And then just kind of seeing if that matches up with what we're looking to do. And so we wanted to give those guys the first opportunity because obviously a lot of things were going right here at JMU. And so if we had an opportunity to hang on to some of the guys who had experienced the greatest season and this run that you were referencing there, then we wanted to make sure that we were able to carry that over to our team as well. But then we kind of shifted our focus, to players that we had coached at Morehead State, some guys that we felt like could make the jump up from the OVC to the Sun Belt and had interest in coming here and have an impact for us. And so that led us to Ricks and Mark Freeman. And then from there, we were able to attract some guys who we had previously recruited maybe the first time around coming out of high school, or maybe even in the portal the past couple of years. And so we'd had a prior relationship and familiarity with them. And so we kind of shifted our focus there. Some players that we had competed against over the years in the OVC. And so that had a great familiarity with our evaluation of them and what kind of players they were. And then we still were able to recruit locally. We were able to secure a previous commitment under Coach Byington's staff with Red Thompson out of John Marshall High School in Richmond, and so local product who's going to be a really good player for us. And so, it's kind of our philosophy, right? Current team, local players, and then familiarity from guys we'd coached, played against, or previously recruited, and ultimately that led to the roster construction that we have right now.
You mentioned Mark Freeman and Eddie Ricks coming over from Morehead State as well. I know Ricks is a really athletic player who has a consistent rebounding presence, and he'll transfer that over to the Dukes.
Yeah, without question. Eddie had a phenomenal freshman year. It's very difficult in the current college basketball landscape for freshmen to play quality minutes on really good teams, and so he had the unique opportunity to play 25 minutes a game on an NCAA tournament team and have a great role. And so we're excited about, that experience, what it did for him, and, his talent, his ability, as you mentioned, and bringing that here to James Madison is certainly exciting for us.
Justin Taylor is an interesting basketball player. He comes back into the state of Virginia from Syracuse. He's from Charlottesville, started 34 of 61 games in 2 years for the Orange. How do his abilities on the floor and leadership qualities mesh for a positive opportunity for him with James Madison?
Yeah, well, he's one of those guys that you've got the unique opportunity being here at JMU that our footprint it includes a lot of fertile recruiting grounds, and so we have the opportunity to bring guys back to get them closer to home. And Justin's a terrific example of that. His mom played here at James Madison, so there's that pride factor and familiarity there. But starting 34 games at the ACC level is just incredibly valuable. So the experience that he had, playing up there for a Hall of Famer and playing in the ACC is incredible, and he brings that here. And so he's got great size. He can shoot the ball. He's got a really good feel for the game. He's a very good athlete. Can rebound it as well, and so he can do a lot of great things. And so we just feel like he's a guy that's really going to impact winning, and brings that edge to the court every single day, and certainly a guy that's battle tested, having played in the ACC.
In your career, does the physicality of a team's energy usually survive over the emotional energy, or have I got that backwards?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think both are really important, and it's important to have an understanding of both, a value of both, and then a pretty good balance, right? We always say it's okay to play with emotion, but just do not become emotional, right? And allow that to really impact the mental side of the game. But we're going to be a physical team. We embrace physicality. We teach it, and it's a big calling card of our success.
That's a really good idea there. Have emotion, but don't get emotional. You can put that in any part of society in which you would work.
Yeah, absolutely. So it serves our guys well when we focus on, their responses. Okay, basketball's such a chemistry-driven game, and it's more, your success is going to be defined on how you respond. What happens to you, right? You miss a shot, you make a mistake, you turn the ball over. You have a blown defensive assignment. How do you respond on the next play is, the most important key with that. And so we're really mindful and meticulous on coaching and emphasizing and helping correct, that part of the game for our guys.
When you look at the new beginnings of a new team overall, is it generally easy for the players to turn the page and fit into newer programs?
Yeah, I think so. I think the biggest reason is, we clearly explain to them what our expectations are going to be, what our identity is going to be, and then we quickly try to identify where our strengths lie, within each player, and then we try to, stack the deck, right? And we try to build things around what they're good at, as opposed to, asking them to do things that they're not good at. We're certainly going to challenge them. It's a big part of what we do and our success, but ultimately putting them in positions to play to their strengths is another reason that we're going to find success.
Coach, last thing, as you look at Sun Belt Conference basketball, what are some of the norms that you see in this conference that make it as challenging as it is?
I think there's so many great programs, right? I think when you look at it from a job perspective, I think every job in the Sun Belt is a really good one. I think the parity over the years has been very evident, and there's not just been one marquee dominant program. I think you've got a lot of programs that are extremely competitive every year and have an opportunity to win the title, right? And to punch their ticket and represent the league at the NCAA tournament or in any postseason. And so that's exciting. And I think there's just so many really good players. This is a big league. It's a very athletic and physical league from what I can gather. And so those things are really exciting to see exactly how we're going to match up from a personnel standpoint and a coaching standpoint as well to, maintain the success that we've seen here at JMU.
Looking at the summer, the spring and summer, as you've made the transition, how much time do you spend looking at who your opponents are? Because you've got lots of new kids coming into the program, and I'll bet they, come and getting them settled first.
Yeah, very little, to be honest with you. We haven't really focused on any opponent to this point. Building our schedule has been a real challenge, and so we kind of had a blank slate with the non-conference schedule. So we had the unique opportunity to build that up, and I would say the success that JMU has had over the last few years has been terrific, as we mentioned in the beginning of the interview, for recruiting, but it's been very difficult for scheduling. And so our strength of schedule is going to be extremely difficult. There's going to be a lot of really good teams on there. And so we've not been focused on that at all, to be honest with you. And then a lot of unknowns in the Sun Belt. Obviously, we're new to the league here with our staff, and then a lot of roster turnover and some coaching changes within the league as well. So there's going to be a lot of new factors, new players, new styles, and things to embrace, and those will be great challenges. But the greatest thing for us is any opportunity we have to work on ourselves, focus on our team. We're going to stay, and we're going to try to stay in that mode for as long as we can.
Coach Preston Spradlin up in my home state of Virginia there at Harrisonburg. Coach grew up out around Wytheville, which is it's closer to the Kentucky border, actually. It's great having you back on here. I'm looking forward to watching you take these dudes to an even newer level.
Well, I appreciate that. It's always a pleasure to be on here, and any opportunity to talk about our team. We've got an unbelievable group of guys. I'm so thankful that they all chose to be here, be a part of our program for the right reasons, and compete for an amazing university. And so we're extremely excited to get the season going and see just what kind of team we've had, because we think we've got a chance we got the makings of a terrific group that can have a special season.
Thanks a lot, Coach. I enjoyed it, man. Good
Thank
luck.
you.